Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Good to see you.
Today is our Cook the Book. And for April, we are doing Raise a Glass. We figured it would be a great time to start looking at what kind of beverages and all that we might want to have for this spring and summer that's coming up as we're all getting ready to gather again with friends and family. And this seemed to be like the opportune time to have this program. So, as I said, it is beverages. Most of these are going to be alcoholic beverages, which we found out, I'm sure, as Glenny can attest, in most of the books, that's what they were. In fact, I want to say in the book that I did, it was all alcoholic beverages. I don't know if there was a single one that wasn't. The book that I did was Camp Cocktails, was the one that I'm sorry, we're using a new system today, and I'm figuring out where my camera is now. So I did use Camp Cocktails by Emily Vikre, and this one I thought was really interesting. It's a brand new book that we have. I think we've had it for about maybe 5 months or so, and it was all of those like you kind of get together campsites. They talked about like backpack drinks as well as like car camping and that. Some of these might have been a little bit more adventurous for myself, even on a camp outing, much less at home. I kind of prefer my drinks to be a little bit more fruity and candy like than some of these, but we're going to see how some of these turn out pretty well. This book was really nice. It did have a nice explanation of different techniques that you can use in regards to those, in regards to measuring and stirring. Um, should you shake or stir, which is the way to go. And then they broke it down really into the different types of camp outings that you would maybe have a drink to. So backpack camping. So a lot of these are going to be done for probably 1 to 2 people. These aren't going to make like full party on drinks in regards to that. They like have a whole section on like flasks and what drinks and mixed drinks that you could have inside a flask or a water bottle. Not sure that's the proper beverage to have when you're backpacking. Maybe afterwards though. So the two that I chose today I'm going to be looking at is we are in Wisconsin. So I thought doing the maple syrup old fashioned would be really nice. This one does use bourbon, not brandy. So we're going to give that one a try and we're going to see how that goes. It was a very simple recipe, which I really liked. And once again, it only makes one serving. And that was in their car camping one. And then the other one was a morning section. Once again, maybe a little early for myself. And this was a B&B, a blueberry maple bourbon. So you can kind of see what it's going to look like, hopefully. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to cut to Glenny real quick, just so that she can kind of tell you what she liked about her books while I get ready to be able to make the two drinks that I'm going to talk about. And then Glenny has two as well that she's going to use. So go ahead, Glenny.
Oh, so I had this book that I found, Quench, Handcrafted Beverages to Satisfy Every Taste and Occasion by Ashley English. And I really liked this book because it had a lot of different things in there, from making your own sodas and why you would want to do that, to save money, to sort of control the ingredients if that's what you're about, just personalize it and have it be like things for your taste. And they also had some nice pictures, ideas of how to serve your beverages. Um, they liked the adaptability of using your own again ingredients. They have a ginger beer in here you can make, a lemonade, a blueberry lemonade, and they show you what bottles they like to use. Here's for bottling. They like a lot of these bottles that have that snap flip cap. And then they also went on to do like I started with soft drinks, but they also went on to tell you how to make almond milk, coconut milk, um, There are a couple of other milks. Kombucha is in here for a recipe. All kinds of alternative beverages that you can use festively for an afternoon or evening or morning sort of treat. So it's really all about how to make, this one's all about a healthy treat. And they talk also about fruit nectars. So you can get, they tell you how to make fruit nectar, peach nectar, pear nectar, and or how to just use a store-bought nectar and either drink it chilled straight up or have it over ice with fizzy water and a slice of lime. I really liked how they were flexible and good about broadening your scope, your horizons, as far as what a nice beverage cocktail could be. So in this particular book, Quench, there are both alcoholic. It's about 50-50 actually.
Oh,
And I would
nice.
say even more non-alcoholic than alcoholic, which was a nice one to balance out all the other ones. Like here's something rather exotic. It was a cardamom rose soda. Cardamom rose soda. So it sounds like if you were having an Indian meal or something, that could be rather delicious. I really recommend this book particularly, and as well as back to the coconut milk and the horchata, which is a Mexican rice drink, which is really delicious. So they have a recipe for that. It's a really broad spectrum, lots of different ways, lots of different kinds of drinks. But I think Rebecca is ready to show us her cocktails of choice.
Yes. And so please bear with us as we are working, as I said, with a different filming system today. We were having mic problems with our old one. So right now we're having to work our way through a brand new system. So the first drink that I'm going to make is a maple syrup old fashioned. And now I have to say, you know, as a Wisconsin girl, one would think that I would have had lots of old fashions. And I really haven't had a ton because I'm not a big bourbon or brandy fan, I guess. But I was willing to try something, and I knew, and I figured that these would be really drinks that a lot of our patrons might be interested in. And I really like maple syrup now.
Yeah.
And I have to say, was a little surprised at this recipe because the very first ingredient is maple syrup, but is only a half a teaspoon. And I really am a fan of maple syrup. But I'm only going to put right now a half a tablespoon in just to kind of, this says to taste, so I very well could be putting more in there. So this drink really just has four ingredients. It has the maple syrup, and then it is going to have 2 dashes of bitter. So I'm going to slide the syrup out of the way for you, and we're going to just pour 2 dashes of bitter in there. Now, I don't always measure, but this one I'm going to measure because I want to try to make sure that these proportions are accurate for the taste of this. And and it calls for 2 ounces. I could use rye whiskey or bourbon. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I had bourbon, so we're going to use that. So that's 1. And 2. I'm just going to cap that a little bit because we're going to use that for the next one. And then it asks for just a squeeze of orange. And so I'm just going to go ahead and throw that in there. Try not to get it all over the place. Right? That may have been a little bit more orange than they asked for, but and then this one is just a stir drink. So we're going to give it a stir. I mean, it looks like a nice color. It has that going for it right now.
And it looks potent.
It smells potent. I can tell you that. And then we're just going to throw in 2 ice cubes, which is probably more than it needed. Probably only needed the 1. And we're going to let that chill just a little bit before I go ahead and I try that one. And we'll make the second one while we are letting that one sit. And this one is the blueberry maple bourbon. And so this one had 2 different parts of the recipe. One of them was to make a blueberry maple syrup. So I'm just going to check my camera. Yep, you can see it. Right. And so this I made last night. And it is with fresh blueberries, maple syrup, and some water. So it was pretty easy. You just boil it and then let it simmer so it reduces down a little bit. It is still, though, right? We still have quite a bit of liquid in there. And the book recommends that after you are out of the liquid part of it, to use the blueberries for your pancakes, I guess, that you would be eating while you're drinking this in the morning. So this particular drink will call for, this one's going to be a shake and drink. So I'm going to take my shaker, and I'm going to try to keep this away from the mic. So I will apologize if it gets really, really loud. I'll give you guys the heads up ahead of time when we go to shake this drink here. Right, so I'm going to fill that up, and we are going to take 1.5 ounces of bourbon in there. Cap that. Wow, that is some strong smelling bourbon. And then we're going to take 1 ounce of the blueberry maple. And so they recommend going here, and you don't want to get the fruit in with it. You just really want that syrup. So I'm just going to kind of spoon it out into, and if I get one, it's not the end of the world. Though maybe after drinking these, I'm going to think it is. There we go. I'm just going to put that in there right now. And then it calls for 1/2 ounce of lemon. And I just have my store-bought lemon here because Glenny sat in the kitchen and she squeezed all of her limes. And I was just like, I just bought store-bought lemon. And then it calls for 2 ounces of soda water. So we're just going to throw that in here. Wait, I should make sure that before.
Do you shake the soda water? Or do you put the soda
no,
in?
You are correct. I need to shake first.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Oh my gosh, that would have been horrible. Yeah, that's what we say now until we ask the cleaning company to clean up and explain why there's like bourbon and soda all over the library. So I'm going to just move back just for a second.
Like a 15-second shake?
Yeah, I'm just going to give it a quick.
Yeah. That sound is very festive. I like that sound. It makes it special. More.
More?
Yeah.
I know, I do love that sound. And then we're just going to let that. And it says to dump the ice and all.
Into your glass?
Into my glass. So. And then it is optional to top it with some soda water. I am a little bit going to. Maybe to cut that bourbon just a little bit. I'm going to have like.
Pretty.
And that is, so I move this. It's all a little dirty here now. And see if you guys can see it. So I have my maple old fashioned. And I have my blueberry maple bourbon. Nice. I will let them chill a little bit, and I will try them on camera so that everybody can appreciate how horrible that's going to be when you see me. At least, probably not for everybody, but as I said, for me, bourbon's not my thing. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to transition to Glenny. Actually, I'll move it over to mine so that Glenny can get ready to set up hers. So I guess you guys will get to see me at least try these. So give me 1 second. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this particular one. I think I'm going to go with the old-fashioned first. It does have a very nice old-fashioned taste going for it. Glenny's just checking her camera. I'm sorry. I had to look for a second. So do you want to smell it real quick, Glenny?
Yeah, I can smell it.
Yeah. Yes.
It smells very good.
It is very strong. Actually, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. That I shouldn't say it that way. It has that bourbon. I think that maple syrup probably cuts that a little bit. It has that bourbon heat though to it that you may be familiar with. And then we have the blueberry one, and you can see it is pretty close to that picture. So I'm kind of impressed because normally I kind of um, will substitute if I don't necessarily have the ingredients. So nothing ever quite looks like it's supposed to.
I like the blueberry one.
So I like the fact that it actually has that color. So let's try that one. Oh, that one actually is really nice. Though I might benefit from stirring it a little bit. The soda water sat on the top a little bit.
Because I got the part at the bottom of the shaker. It was very good.
So I will, but actually I think that one turned out really nice. Not a breakfast drink, I can tell you that. So I'm going to cut to Glenny, and she's going to show you the 2 drinks that she worked on from her cookbook. So there you go, Glenny. It's now up to yours.
The first drink is mango nectar because I love nectar. So if you were doing a virgin kind of a drink where you weren't feeling like alcohol, because really cocktail hour is all about, generally, I'll have something like an iced tea or a lavender water. And I love nectars. There's just something really special about a nectar rather than a juice. It has the pulp, it's thicker, it's smoother, it's richer. It's just delicious. And one could even squeeze a little lime in there, have that on the side if you like. And there is it. Can you see it? Yep. And there's that. So that's a nice mango nectar with a squeeze of lime. I also got from Rick Bayless's book Frontera a wonderful. We'll see how wonderful. It's a margarita. It's a margarita, and this is going to require measuring. So, where did your measuring? Here it is. So I need 2 ounces of base liqueur, and that is this that I made with a bag full of limes, and I used maple syrup and a little bit of water. So we need 2 ounces of that. So is that?
It's 1.5 ounces.
Okay. So that's 1.5 ounces. And here's another one. So there's our simple syrup. We got that in there. And then they often say for margaritas, it would be like a 2-ounce tequila, 2-ounce your lime sour syrup, and 2-ounce your orange Patron. But this is your orange. Could be Grand Marnier, it could be triple sec, it could be Cointreau, it could be any number of orangey liqueur kind of things. Now we need our tequila, our 2 ounces of tequila. Let's see. So we have the 1.5 and the 2. So there's our tequila. And it said 8 to 10. Okay, so we have the tequila, the lime sour. Now we need the Patron, the 1 ounce of Patron. Oh, I just made up a drink. So, and then we put a whole bunch of ice in there. He likes ice drinks. He likes particularly margaritas shaken because the ice cubes crash around. They really beautifully cool everything down. 4, 5, 6, I don't think that's 7, 8. They called for 8. And the ice, as you're shaking, they break apart and you get slivers that are delicious and delectable. And so we're going to give that a whirl. If I can find
you
the
want
lid.
That, you want the top too, yes.
Yep.
You want to rinse? I can rinse that out for you.
No, that's okay. I think I have. Here.
Just for the, otherwise you're going to get that blueberry in there.
I got it. Nice. I got that rinsed out. Thing goes on the top. Again, it's going to get loud. So let's see. I've never done this before, and it's looking crooked. So maybe try that again. Okay. He says 15 seconds is the magic number.
Oh, okay.
At his restaurant.
So
we'll see.
That could be.
One, two, three. Okay. I think.
I think you got that 15 seconds
I
in
think
there.
that's in there. And then he said to get your salt to stick on the rim of your glass.
Oh, you want to bring that down just a little.
Okay.
There you go.
You take a lime, you wipe it around the rim of your glass, and then you take and he uses big salt because it's not that you have to coat everything, it's just that you get a few little rock salty edges. And actually, kosher salt would be better. This is we here at the library had
Ice cream salt.
So we're very can do around here, make do. And so there's a few little chunks on there that'll be very lovely.
Yeah.
And then
kosher salt will work though pretty well.
Yeah. It's a slightly finer than the ice cream salt. Then we pour that in there into into a martini glass. And then don't do that. Then do they put the ice in there too?
Not generally, unless you're icing. Well,
I don't because it's strong. I need the
you'll need that
meltage. I need the meltage.
We're pretending that we're gonna be drinking these. We're not gonna be finishing these at all. We're all going home after this.
Take a nap.
Yeah.
So that's our mango, a nice mango nectar, and a margarita. So that's the first margarita I've ever made.
Really?
Yes, it is.
That is interesting that is the first one that you've ever made.
Yes, I've always wanted to shake a drink because it just sounds, the thought of, on a nice hot summer day to just have that outside. I bet you could use a mason jar or any kind of jar with a lid on it.
Sure.
But I think the metal makes it colder. I don't know.
That could be, the metal conducts that cold pretty well, so it probably helps force that cold into the drink.
And it
that's
also
probably
aerates
not the
it. It gets more oxygen going in it. Because I know I've tried with a glass jar. I've tried at a certain coffee emporium that people like to go to in America. For their iced tea, they shake it. And I've had it where they poured it, and it's not as good as when they shake it because it's the bubbles that happen with the ice as it interacts with the sweetener and the ice. That's way better.
Oh, I'll have to try that sometime. So thanks everybody for joining us. I hope that you stop by and maybe try out either Camp Cocktails
or Quench
or
Frontera by Rick Bayless.
That one is that the one with
there's three things in this book. It's margaritas, guacamoles, and snacks.
Oh, so it's all
lots
margaritas.
Of margaritas. I just did the simple one. There are so many margaritas recipes in this book, and he tells you the one that he uses in his restaurants, and the high-end liqueurs that you can use for that, and then the for a crowd version. So it's very good. You also learn about ice. Do you make your ice with distilled water so that it's clearer? Do you make your ice in round 1-inch balls, which when they shake does something else? And so he has a whole section on ice. If you ever want to know about ice, this book will tell you all about it.
Wow, that I would not have expected, but I'm actually
not
a little bit interested in that as to how that might be. And then I actually am looking forward to maybe trying that Quench book out. The fact that there are a few different non-alcoholic drinks. Oh yeah, you should try that. How is that?
It's very refreshing.
It sounds like it may be very strong as well.
It's very. I think I like it.
Yes. So we want to thank you all for joining us. We hope that maybe some of these books will inspire you to have either a just local gathering with just you and your family, or maybe if you're gathering for a cookout, or maybe just a summer get-together. I think some of these books will be really helpful. I know that you can find some of those recipes online, but sometimes having a book and just being able to flip through and see those pictures and the directions written right in there can be really helpful.
Inspiring.
It is. So we raise a glass to you guys. Next month, we are going to be turning to the healthy side of life for National Salad Month. So we will have salads next month. So we hope you guys join us, and we look forward to seeing you guys.
Cheers.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.